the NA Star League is underway for the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 portion of the season. My name is McCormiel. With me is Cash. You're probably wondering, why aren't we starting at our typical 7 o'clock Eastern time? Well, unfortunately, due to some circumstances up in the greater Northeast, well, our dear friend Cash, unfortunately, had her power go out. So, Amber, welcome back and welcome to the Powerful Life.
Yeah, it's great. You know, we've got a lot of things going on now. I don't have to sit in the dark and play cards. And yeah, I'm excited that we get to watch COD tonight, at least at some point, even though, you know, we're about an hour behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Our first match did get moved out of the way, so we will only have one Call of Duty match here tonight. That'll be followed up by our Valorant a little later on, but the Keanu Huskies will be going up against the Westcliff Warriors for our best of 5 series. You'll see the rosters now on each side. Both of these teams have had up and down seasons so far here throughout MW2, but you'll notice a few names over on that Westcliff University side. Aqua, former professional Call of Duty player, very, very large, nice name to watch, but it'll be interesting to see how he plays. This team hasn't been performing quite up to expectations this season, though.
Yeah, they definitely have it. It's one where, you know, they're struggling at this point to kind of find their footing in the respective NA Star League and really what the mark they want to make. Now, 3-1 and 3-1, them as well as sitting Keanu, a great one to be sitting at here. But like you had said, at certain points, finding ways to falter and not quite be as stout as they would like to be at this point in the season. Sure. Still with time to, you know, turn around. We just talked last week about how, hey, you know, it's halfway point of the season, like it'll come by sooner than you think. There is still time, of course, but for a lot of these teams, right, you only have maybe a couple matches left after this before we get into conference play. So this match does have a lot of implications on, well, who really locks number 1 in the conference even.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you kind of take a look at that proverbial clock, you know, it's getting closer and closer to midnight. We're going to find out who our best teams are, who the bottom teams are, if we haven't already found that out at this point in the season. But really, who's going to be those teams to truly beat when it comes to playoff time? Talking about our map set, though, we'll start off with Hotel, going to Mercado and El Asilo for our guaranteed 3 maps out of 5, and then Mercado and Hotel for those necessary maps later on if we need to go the distance. But talking a little bit more about this, you know, roster, we've seen them twice already here for NACE. This is going to be our 3rd time. We've really gotten to kind of understand how this team plays, what we can expect out of them. Westcliff's kind of a kind of stone in the road, if you will, a pebble, but could be a true big upset for a small automobile that could be Keanu here. And when you truly think about this team, you know, we have seen struggles that have been corrected week over week, but we've also seen things that continue to give this team just a bit of a hitch going forward. I think Westcliff, when it comes to the respawn conversation where Keanu have struggled a few moments this season, that's really where things can start to capitalize for the Westcliff Warriors, and I think that's where you might start to see them get out to a high pace early on in this best of 5.
Yeah, and Hotel is really becoming the clear-cut favorite to kind of get a lay of the land for how a series could shape up, how fundamentally sound you are in these respawns, you know, how good the comms are in map number 1, right? It's not really one where you're running and gunning, so much so as you're really relying on the teamwork that you have with your squad. And like you said, we've seen this Keanu squad a couple of times so far here at NACE, and they have, you know, shown week over week delivery and changes, and we've seen them put down like 60-point clubs against teams in respawn. So if Westcliff want a good gauge of kind of where they're headed the rest of the season, I do think it starts tonight. And I mean, if this Husky squad does get the win, they do clinch the 1 seed in their conference. So a lot on the line for both of these teams, really, to kind of give a stout showing and kind of get people's minds into, okay, where they're looking to be headed for the postseason. So though it's a mid-season matchup technically by regular season standards, there's so much more to play for here.
Absolutely. And it's kind of interesting to talk about Westcliff in a sense too. Like, you know, they come into this year for Modern Warfare 2, kind of a new roster out there in the west side of things, but the big bold thing was like, how is this team going to stack up to last year's roster? Last year's roster had high expectations in the year, and they lived up to those for the most part, walking away with you know, top 4 performances in other collegiate leagues. I don't believe they played inside of NACE last year, so we didn't really get to see a good look at this Westcliff team inside of the Star League in the previous year, Vanguard. But one thing that was absolutely kind of known around the league was like, okay, hey, this team is a very strong opponent. Now that they've been struggling this year, those expectations that they came into the leagues with was kind of knocked down a peg. And now you have a team that you're dealing with who has, you know, still relatively high expectations going into the later portions of the year, with results not yielding anywhere close to what people thought they would be, or even themselves thought they would be coming into this season. So this is a big turnaround point for them against the strong Keanu roster. If you're not able to pull off a strong win here, or you kind of falter to this Huskies roster, it's going to continually negatively impact what you have is your own mental, but what everybody else thinks about you. And although that might not seem like a very important thing, other teams matching up against you will have a much higher mental boost going up against you if they know that you've been lacking.
Definitely so. I'm excited to see what these teams bring to the table tonight. You know, how locked they are going into kind of this, right, we're on the downward trend of the regular season. Again, we talk about things maybe slowing down and gearing up for the postseason, but you still have to bring your A game. And for both of these teams, they're definitely going to need it here.
Absolutely. We're going to send things to a quick break. When we come back, we'll set up map number 1, talk a bit more about these two rosters, and we'll get to finally see some action here tonight. So don't go far. We'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back. Hotel map number 1. We had a few things going wrong in the background, but I believe everything has been sorted out, so we should be good to go. Now you can see the beautiful fly-through graphic in the background. Keanu Huskies going up against the Westcliff Warriors. If you're just joining us, thank you for your patience. We appreciate you standing around, sticking through it, but we have finally gotten our lobby ready. We've got the players loading in, and map 1 is just around the corner. Cash, this map can be so influential in a series, but especially against a struggling Westcliff team that needs to find early success in a hard point. This is just the map to do that.
Absolutely so. It really feels like the one they need to get off to a good start on, and what better way than against a team that also is trying to find themselves secure footing and make themselves a reputable respawn as well. Off the break, Westcliff, they get on time first. A mid-map spread out of Keanu. They're going to get chopped down for the time being, but here we go. Westcliff Warriors, let's see what you got.
Aqua putting his best foot forward. Exelios, who's been a stunning star for this Keanu roster here throughout this year, will open himself up early on here in the game. Nice little trade there, comes with a costly team kill, and Vibe will be good for 2, now make it a 3rd. So P1 going to be held down at least early on by the Westcliff side of things, but Keanu trying to get out early on a rotation here. It's really just going to be a battle here for the last 20 seconds of time.
Up for grabs. Keanu able to grab it. If so, able to keep this mid-map pressure, but as you said, they're trying to go for a spawn flip here. You know the importance of P2 and how that can really be one of the first full 60, if not at least 45-second plus opportunities.
Sure.
Plus, they're ready for it, so it's a 2v2 for this early bit of time as the new hill pops, and now make that a 1v1. Players spawning out for Westcliff, and Keanu on the collapse.
It's a split spawn for both of the teams, though, as they're trying to all race over towards the point. Kurz is going to be able to open in towards the hill, which is going to allow them in for the time. Westcliff going to be around the back, trying to influence these spawns to the best of their abilities. And as you see, Great Witness trying to make a route here. Bad timing, maybe to the side of Westcliff, but Aqua will be able to snap into the right place. Still 3 players in for Keanu and towards the point. Here comes the break on in, though. Vibe, another team kill here from Westcliff, but it's Cruci who's there, and a beautiful break in from Westcliff. That's going to give them the last 30 seconds of time to work with, should Keanu go ahead and try to break back in.
2 players already branching out, trying to get loose on P through rotation. You can tell how Westcliff want to play it. They want to play it with tempo, and they want to influence spawns early on. As you said, Keanu not giving it another look. They're going to try to group up in kitchen, but again, you kick down that door, and suddenly they put their pants down, unaware that they're already knocking on the door to get in. Westcliff Warriors putting pressure here, and as you said, scooped up the back 30 cleanly.
First, shots from behind. Rotation out clean across the map. You can see the northwest portion of the mini-map going to be honed in by those nice teal turquoise arrows. As you can see, everybody's starting to make the pinch now from Westcliff. They have 2 different fronts that they're trying to fight this on, but it just might work out in their favor if they can break on in. Both gunfights, one from the backside. Now they can punch in towards the hill, but it's a double back from Keanu. This is going to be a 3-2 trade now, a 3 versus 3. 1 versus 1 on the point. Reinforcements now here from Keanu. And as Aqua looks to the back doors, he'll be able to find one. Snaps to the second. Exelius will fall. And now it's going to be a 1 versus 1 for time. But yet again, it's reinforcements from the opposite side. Westcliff holds on for the 30.
This line could not really be closer at this point in the game. The scoreline 20 points favoring Westcliff. Keanu gonna cut their losses and try to get out on rotation once again, but it is the Warriors out and applying pressure. So scrap time up for grabs. That should be the clearance Westcliff needed to gather it cleanly. And for Keanu, the Huskies will be licking their wounds as we make this rotation to P4, where they're now down 30 or so points.
But nice for the Huskies so far to be able to get out early on rotations, but holding those hard points down for the bulk of time has been their biggest test so far. Westcliff has done a nice job of being able to break early and often. Brody up the staircase will be looking for a player through the back lines. Kurz will get some shots and information on the Nightmares. Will fall shortly after the fact. Now as Keanu is still holding here for the first 15 seconds of time, it's yet another break in from Westcliff. They'll win the majority of the gunfights around the hill.
Aqua on a 5 spree. Cruci and 5 not far behind him as well. One more and you get the streak. So influential on this map. For now, Keanu going to break in with the 2 behind Brody. Time going back and forth, but Brody's starting to light up the kill feed as well, so you're going to get a break for, as you were calling for, the lion's share of time to at least close up scrap, but split spawns come in. I don't know that they're aware that the pressure's coming from the back. Either way, the time will sit empty. It's still going to be the Huskies winning by technicality on rotation, but scoreline not rewarding them for it here.
Well, they have no idea where Westcliff is going to be coming from, although Kurz might have an idea through the back lines here as the door will open up. Aqua's going to be there for a gunfight. Vibe will be there for a little bit of help at the same time. Restaurant held down for the moment. Vibe through the back line, cut down. And all this will lead now is Asada Keanu in the hill for the first 10 seconds.
It's all going to be through one direction out of Westcliff. Maybe some pressure through mid-map if Aqua can find a kill, but Exelios has that taken care of. His teammates are lining things up around him. Cruci tries to get a couple, but you hold form if you're the Huskies. You start to rally back as you get another wave to breathe on. Aqua, though, already off spawn, teammates gathering around him, and I guess no on time for now.
Like this initial hold here from Keanu. But they'll need to hold on just a bit more if they want to keep Westcliff at bay. And they'll do just that. Brody's double out the front door will allow them to force their way back through. Hold Westcliff off of their initial aggressive push. As Vibe falls yet again, this is the first time in the game where the Huskies have truly shown their might of being able to hold down a hill. This was impactful time. This is going to put them just about at a tie game with Westcliff with a chance to overtake the lead because they've got themselves early here on rotations.
And they've won every rotation from the start. So the fact that they were able to get the lion's share of time, that's going to be very, very dangerous for Westcliff because unless they start winning rotations, if Keanu can still find ways to snag majority of this time, they could blow the scoreline out of proportion as they've tied it up in battles back now. At some point, the Warriors are going to have to win one of those and not rely on a break because it was a stout hold for the first 15-20 seconds. The Huskies, Westcliff Warriors, poised and ready to the back to try to get on, but not going to be easy.
You know, every kill that Westcliff has gotten in this later half of the hard point has been traded out immediately by Keanu. And then all of those kills have then led to Keanu having the life advantage. Brody, a beautiful snap onto Nightmares. The staircase head glitch not going to work out in his favor. And this will give them the last 20 seconds of time here at P6, but that was basically almost a full 60 seconds of time that they were able to garner for themselves here, if not at least 45 at the bare minimum. So Brody will nade himself out, not allow anybody to get back over towards the staircase, still continue to hold down this time, forced rotation back into middle map for Westcliff, who have not been able to break in these last 2-3 hills.
They got a good amount of time on P1 the last to go around. They're going to need 40 seconds of it if they want to tie things up before P2 if they can't win rotation, but you can see them putting emphasis on it here early. It is going to be tricky to hold on to it for the next 50 seconds. You know the Huskies are going to apply pressure, try to get through the back and influence that the best they can. For now, it's back and forth, head on a swivel. Try to garner as much time as you can here. No team letting it go for free, and we've got ourselves a map number 1 on our hands.
Absolutely do. Aqua on 5 in a row. Brody was not able to get the 6 kills, so no cruise missile for Keanu at the time. Aqua will also get shut down, so no utility for either teams, but Westcliff is slowly starting to bring this game back. Brody will entry in with the Vaznev in hand. First kill gonna go his way. Time still sitting stagnant for now, but as Westcliff hops on in, you can see where the Huskies are set up and focused. They want those P2 spawns. However, it's Brody who spawns on out, but Kurz for 3 in a row will now pop a double as he holds down Westcliff on their initial push back to P2.
A streak gets invested out of Aqua, doesn't connect, but at the very least can relay information to the team. Now what move do you make out of Jewelry? You're trying to get through the back line. You know someone's going to be watching it as this hill pops. Are you going to get the best of the gunfight? Answer, no. Great witness, keeping things locked down for spawns. Spawn side, Westcliff are grouping up and poised for another hit. They were able to get in early last time, and they need to get in early here if they want to keep the scoreline manageable.
They have to. As soon as those first 2 Keanu players get a couple of kills, though, it's Westcliff who are there for trades. 1 versus 1 on the point for time. Huge win there by Aqua. The grizzled veteran is going to be able to hold things down and allow Westcliff to stay within a reasonable margin in map number 1. Cruci looking for some pre-fired shots. Brody, who's been a shining star here in map 1 for Keanu, will fall immediately after. As you'll still see those close spawns in from Keanu, this last 25 seconds of time could be all theirs.
As you said, they have the last 25 seconds up for grabs, and it is Westcliff for the first time getting out on rotation. Now, sure, they may be outnumbered here in a moment, but again, the effort has been made. It's the Huskies soaking up time now for a 1v1. Cruci's going to lock down the back 10. Going to give it up, though. It's going to be a battle for P3 where the game could nearly come down to.
Restaurant spawn's going to be close for the Huskies. Only 2 players here from Westcliff, but that might be all they need. Vibe was able to find one. Cruci will now break in from the opposite side door, and Great Witness is just looking with a pre-aim and ready. AR in hand and will walk away with a gunfight win. Aqua now around the corner. Elimination goes his way. Vibe there for a trade, but it's 3-1 for Westcliff. The Warriors have all the positioning around the hill, but they don't actually have the hard point, and the Huskies continue to soak up time.
25-point game. Back and forth pinstripe kill feed spawns a little bit of everywhere, and so is the hill. It's 2 for 1 of the feed. Nate that 2 for 2 is Nightmares. Maybe not starting to come alive the best that he'd like to, but maybe at the moment that it matters most. Kurz connects for another 2-piece, and it is Keanu finding time. 20 seconds left could put them within closing this out, and the Warriors have simply chalked it up and are hedging their bet here on P4.
We said Westcliff needed to get better in their early respawns in a series. So far, it has proven to not really matter all that much, because the Huskies have been good, and when they've pulled ahead, they've stayed ahead. 230, 181, rotation over to bar is in the hands of the Warriors for the time being, but can Westcliff manage to hold on? Brody, double, Vibe back for one, still in the possession is the hard point for Westcliff, but it's a break looming now for Keanu.
Can they get through? Can they find a soft spot? Well, Curtis is going to make one with a three-piece there. 20 seconds to close this one out, and there's not a way. Find a way to make one. Warriors on the outside looking in, scratching their head. They've got 10 seconds to make a play.
192. You got to get at least 58 points to win the game. And while you're laying down on the hill, the great witness is here once again, bringing the war to the doorstep of Westcliff. 9 seconds is all the Huskies need. Tons of time to get it here on the bar, and the break is in. Curtis went huge in the second half of the hard point here. Break back in for Westcliff. It's 15 seconds of time you're fighting for. You have to hold this and get the rotation, but now a player spawns in from behind and could win the game.
6 seconds left. They're not going to go for it, so the read is not going to be in, but it will be a pinch. Westcliff have a war on all fronts. Are the Warriors going to be ready to go?
You have to turn around here. Vibe won't be able to check it. Brody is there. Here comes the break in. Brody for a double. Can you go to the third? There's still one in the freezer. Teammates gonna help on out. Shots are in, but it's from Aqua and Cruci, who are over the top and have broken in for at least one. 1 versus 1. 2 seconds left from Keanu. Huskies are here, but the reinforcements from the Huskies are back once again. Nightmares in the front. Hip fire shots. They'll hold them out for the time.
I mean, this is so back and forth and down to the wire. The Warriors, by the skin of their teeth, are holding on here. They're not going to be able to win it. They're going to have to win one more rotation. And if this game has shown us anything, it's not over till it's over. The Huskies just need 2.
All they need to do is send one person for a one-on-one while everybody else goes to rotate. However, it's a cruise missile over the top from Curse that comes in. However, it's Cruci who's in the hill. Nobody else. Reinforcements gone. The Huskies, off a late streak in utility usage, will take map number 1. Hopefully you liked your stay at the hotel. We're checking out with a Keanu lead in the series.
250, 225. I mean, down to the wire. I thought that could have been over 2 hills ago. The Warriors made it a much more contested hard point than I thought it was going to be after that P3. Find a way to battle through 2.5 more hills, but like you said, the streak ends up connecting with the teammate. It connects with just the right members of Westcliff on the hill and gets them in for the last 2 seconds of time. Had that been any larger or further of a deficit from 250, Westcliff could have had a chance, but when you have just 2 seconds needed, you can't slip, you can't falter, and the Huskies find a way to walk with that one.
You know, I don't know if the fire alarm stopped ringing in the background for Keanu, but if it didn't, and they were playing through that throughout the entirety of map number 1, well, hot damn. that is tippable, to say the least. But I guess we can talk about the flip side real quick for Westcliff. They started off their game great. It seemed like they had a solid game plan going into the first map here. We're running their gunfights out of the gate, had that early rotation to P2, and that's where they really started to build their lead for themselves. It really wasn't until after P3 or 4 by the bar where we saw Keanu really start to get their game back around. Kind of what went wrong for Westcliff in the second half of that game?
Yeah, I think the point that I was going to best make about it was the team with the biggest advantage was trading most effectively. The slaying, it wasn't horrific numbers on either side as far as one side heavily favoring another. I mean, Nightmares had a slower performance, I guess, by Westcliff standards, given the slaying contribution. But again, the team that was ahead was just simply trading better, having better plays. How many times did Kurz pop an unanswered 2-piece or Brody there in the mid portion of that, where, again, you kind of lost that until Westcliff battled back, and then it was Cruci finding 2 pieces, Vibe going big for 3. So again, it just really came down to trading, and we usually talk about trading in a negative way where a team just couldn't trade well, and that game had plenty of pinstripe kill feeds, 2 for 2s, 3 for 3s, whatever you want to call it. So the team that simply was outnumbering and leading in the scoreboard, which was the Huskies, found a way to win the numbers engagement at the end of things, and that's what gave them the advantage that they had and allowed them the ability to close it out.
Yeah, a lot of teams, like at the end of the games like that too, you'll have a significant lead for yourself built up, and then another team might, you know, string together the tail end of 20, get a good early break on the next hill, and that's where you can kind of start to falter. Keanu might have looked like that for just a bit there, but they stayed resilient. They were able to bounce back, and that's that clutch gene that these Huskies have acquired throughout this season. That's what they've built for and worked towards, and it shows. And I think that is going to be something that they can kind of tout for themselves on a higher bar towards this end portion of the season as we get into the playoffs, that is going to be something that they're going to heavily rely on. A lot of the series that they have kind of struggled in, it started with map number 1 not maybe going their way, and then having a lackluster map 2 or maybe a slow start, having to bounce back. Being down in the series for them hasn't really been all that good. But once they get out to that hot start, this team is very momentum based, and if that momentum is sky high, this team will be flying through series after series.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And they really have prided themselves on their respawn play this season, especially here in Naze. And so going into the search and destroy, they don't want to let off the gas at all. They know the importance of, hey, if we take map 2, I mean, we could be sitting at 3-0. You can never count this Westcliff squad out, given a scoreline, until it is over. But this is going to be an all too telling search and destroy here on Mercado Westcliff in a guttural loss in map 1. Do they have what it takes to battle back here?
You can see a beautiful nade. Sets over the top from Keanu. Will open up with 1. The nade was good. Brody's going to be chasing everybody down yet again. Very similar to what we saw on the tail end of map 1. But Vive last alive here. He's already got 1 kill in the round for himself. However, he's got 3 players he's going to have to deal with, and now it's survived all the way back off towards the middle of the map, but just barely. So he can either make a flank route or try to challenge directly in towards the tunnel, but everybody in a good trade position for Keanu. So this is looking like a good round 1 for the Huskies.
Solid post plant setup. You've got your lanes covered. You know where he's going to be pushing from. And again, there's so much to clear out, let alone the impenetrable fort. It's a cantina, but it plays a lot like a fortress, honestly. It is so hard to get in there and sniff those players out, all the corners they can play, the different levels. I mean, again, there's just simply no time. You can't work a kill if you can't rip the player top cantina. Well, good luck with the rest of the players around the map. That one will be round number 1, as you had said, going the way of the Huskies.
Waiting it down. Great Witness will clean things up at the very end. Bomb won't detonate, but it will be the Huskies who walk away with a quick, easy, and clean round there. I mean, really, they probably don't lose a life there if Brody doesn't, aggressively challenge for the last one and backs off of the rest of the teammates. But again, you're not going to be able to stop a bull running through a China shop. So 1-0 in the S&D here so far. Offense went the way of the Huskies, but again, it's a very cut and dry kind of copy paste of what we see on every Mercado search and destroy, where everybody's flying over towards A. It's really one, are those set nades going to be able to hit early often, or are they going to allow the offensive team to kind of falter just a bit?
They'll connect for Westcliff. Now Zagan in the cantina, but we might have a player that have dropped out. We'll see what ends up happening there, but for now, playing things out. Vibe will find a kill, and with Great Witness well, eating that frag, something's going to tell me that we might have something going on here.
Yeah, so we'll let you know and fill you in on what will happen with the previous round that was played, but what we do know at the very least is it will be a 1-0 restart when we get things back up and going. To the side of Keanu, of course, who did win that map number 1, so really, I would love to sit here and say that there's things that we can figure out from the search and destroy that we have seen so far. But again, it's what we were talking about at the very beginning. Top of the S&D, cut and dry Mercado S&D. Everybody's going A, and it's really just a matter of who gets into the cantina building first. So, well,
yeah, and to break down that round, I mean, sure, it does boil down to that a lot, but you can tell with the coordination of the nades, recognizing obviously no one has trophy systems in play. They were well coordinated grenades that the Huskies found a first blood with. So a point that I did want to bring up for Keanu is you can tell, especially with Coach Tricks and what he's doing over there, their emphasis is on fundamentals. It's on doing the things that are kind of gimmies in a game. What are gimmies? Rotating. It's not like there's some impenetrable wall that stops you from rotating on a hard point. It's just having the game awareness and the recognition to say, hey, let's get out and rotate, whether it's chalking up 20, 30 seconds or it's a last second thing. They got out and won 90% of the rotations map 1. Here, again, no one is stopping you from, there's no trophy system stopping you from throwing a well-placed grenade down alley and hoping to tag and find a player. So again, the fundamentals are what they're building on for not only this season, but you can tell it's for the future, right? You lay down good fundamentals and you can plug in most any player around it to play with that style, and that's what we got an early glimpse of here. So for the Huskies, outclassing at the most basic level, and for Westcliff, trying to imitate that, but whenever you kind of get that tempo, get that pacing advantage early on, the other team is trying to scramble to get that back. It's definitely one that has to be earned. Not that the Warriors can't at any point, but one where you're going to have to go and take it from the Huskies.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because for Westcliff, it does kind of feel like they are playing on like a less aggressive back foot, where they're just kind of backpedaling away from some gunfights, opposed to being able to take them directly head on. I'm not sure if that's just a disconnect within the team, or if that's just something that comes down to an interpersonal level where your mental is sheerly just not letting you take different aggressive gunfights. So while everything happens in the background, we figure out what the next steps will be to take in the search and destroy. We're going to step aside. Sorry for another break. I know we want to watch the games too. So when we come back, search and destroy Mercado will resume. My name is McCormick, with me Cash. You're watching the A-Star League. Search and destroy. Welcome back. I believe the score will be Keanu up 1-0 here. We'll take it as such. Nades over towards Canteen, but it is that offensive team that's over towards A. And it's interesting, actually, because we're back to the standstill, so it's either going to be 0-0 or 1-1.
Definitely so. And now, for the Huskies, I mean, they didn't scoop bomb. They really went aggressive off break to try to find some kills, and unfortunately, the opposite has panned out. All 4 players, or excuse me, I completely flipped. The HUD is flipped. 4 Westcliff did not scoop bomb and went to get some kills off the board, not going to be the case. And, again, for the Huskies, as we said going into the break, the fundamentals are sound with this team. A 3v2 now, but look at how much of the map they've cleared out. They know that all these players are pinned back alley and towards this A site. It might just be going for the retake here, but they've got their angles locked.
I'm just sitting still up and towards the top Canteen. Nightmare will jump on across, spot it out. They know they're still over towards A, and they have every angle cut down for a rotation off of this site. Last alive here, going to be Vibe. 1 versus 3, 15 seconds left. Has to get this bomb down, but just does not have the time and or the opportunity to do so. However, it will be an aggressive challenge there from one that does get cut down. Maybe an isolated 1v1 allows him to snap to a third, but it's going to be very ticky-tacky at that point. So 1-1, we are tied between these two teams. And again, we'll keep you updated with that score throughout the S&D.
Great work that round. Play around the trades, and you do just that now. Huskies gonna get another attempt here offensively. See what they can do. Kills on the board. I mean, Kurz finds 3 in the round as well, so a good welcome back after the hiccup we had, and now we see the bum rush once again going towards A. It's all 4 players for the Huskies getting to the side.
Little sun check. Nightmares will get that door open for him. However, the Great Witness from the top will be able to find the first blood. So once again, the Huskies have themselves an early kill advantage. 20 seconds off the clock. Bomb starting to make its way a little bit closer towards this A bomb. Well, there is going to be an availability for trades here in a moment, or at least a pick potential for Westcliff. As long as they can cut down Great Witness at a top Canteen.
Aqua was able to find 1. That should at least slow this push, but Brody holds the angle, doesn't let him get across to put pressure on the bomb site, and now you see these players wrapping bomb completely out of the way. Whether they have to push through tunnel in mid-map or hedge their bets over B, they've got the time and they've got the numbers to decide. Brody going to keep making noise here, but I think for Westcliff, they've sniffed something's up. They're trying to catch players on the cross, but they are already through. Now you can pinch if you are the Huskies. A great position for them to be in. His bomb should be going down momentarily.
Prusy could get some really good timing here, but it will be the opposite side of the bomb where it will get planted. 45 seconds of timer that's going to be on Westcliff to retake this site. 1 versus 2 now. In towards the middle of the map. Doesn't expect Brody to be left at Cantina, but he makes a great play. Alone, very sneaky long route. Allows him to play isolated from his team and walk away with the kill at the end of the round.
3-0 for the Huskies. 2 straight rounds since coming back, and it was 1-0 before the break as we came back in to redo that round. Again, decision-making, play calls, awareness, all of it firing for Keanu. Now they are 3 quick rounds away from closing this one out, and for Westcliff, they've simply been stunning at all fronts right now. No success on either end, haven't been trading as effectively. Again, you look at the S&D bare minimums, and they haven't quite checked the boxes here. What can they do? Maybe to get an offensive attempt on the board. The Huskies have all their angles locked.
Trophy gives away the positioning. One just sprints dead across the tunnel without checking towards the right side. Instead of sending a double challenge to get themselves taken off first. 30 seconds off the board. Vibe looking for a few more opportunities at a trading and equalizing pick for Westcliff. However, the bomb will go down, but you can see 2 players working a long route all the way through the spawn side. This is going to be a perfect pinch here. Just needs to come a little quicker.
Vibe has the ability to read 1. If they both chop this corner, and they do, oh, they're able to overwhelm just with numbers. And if you're pinched, you're trapped in the site. Kruthi needs to find this kill to give them some breathing room. Unfortunately, his teammate's going to fall behind him. Now they know where he's at. A 1v4, 20 seconds to hop the bomb. Should be going away the Huskies, and with that kill hedges, that will be the case. And I think that was all on the back of that pinch through alley. Vibe read 1 at least, but the double chow was just a bit too much, and that allowed them to pinch the site and retake from there.
Yeah, you really gotta like that hit from Westcliff, or excuse me, from Keanu. Being able to reflank everything through, they send some forces over towards B. Maybe thought Westcliff might switch it up on offense, but they don't. But now it's back to offense for Keanu again, and they have not had any trouble getting onto this A site. Yes, they wrapped out over towards B the last time through, but that's rather here nor there. And really all it comes down to is Westcliff going to be able to get themselves a pick early on in the rounds? Well, it's going to be very interesting to see here. No nades, no stuns through the alleyway. However, it is a raining barrage of utility from Keanu coming on the offensive side. As the Great Witness opens with one, Vibe is there for a trade. However, it's a 2-2 split back and forth. We're now dead even with only 15 seconds taken off the clock.
So seldomly, this is the first time we've seen the Huskies at a disadvantage. Kurz now in a 1v2. Has to try to work a couple of picks. Unfortunately, Vaznov in hand, but we know what it can do. It can get times. A nasty heavy wall bangs will come in, not connect, and his teammates there to clean it up. So the Warriors, better late than never getting on the board now, find themselves down 4-1, but constantly kept themselves in a position to, again, at least trade and vibe with that two-piece was critical.
And not much utility invested from Westcliff that round, though, which is quite interesting. Maybe they want to use it later in the round to try and get people off of different angles and whatnot, or maybe force their way up into a site somehow. But realistically speaking, Keanu kind of just beat themselves with their own game there. They let themselves get traded out, weren't able to walk away with kills, and where did that leave them? Dead, finding themselves their first round loss. Vibe, trophy down, nade, stuns up the top. This time on offense, going to be able to at least hold the push across from Keanu that are trying to make their way in. Kurz already going to be up and towards top Cantina, but it's Vibe who walks away with the first blood. Finally, Westcliff are starting to get themselves rolling.
And it's on the back of Vibe, who opened up his first blood last go around as well, or at least the trade for the first blood. Now it's about not overextending, finding a way to get this bomb down. Which player's about to be pinched in the back. It is once again the flank up for free. Brody finds the kill from the front, so this player's position might not be revealed. This flank still possible for Exelius to pull off.
I mean, realistically, just get the bomb down. You have nobody pushing over towards the site. Vibe gets awful timing. Brody will be keen to where these players are. 45 seconds left. Player still in middle map. This is going to be a difficult retake here from Keanu. With 35 seconds left now, they're going to need to find one quickly.
Trying to have a look. Going to get the better timing on Brody now. 1v2, and the last player is Tunnel. 25 seconds and dwindling. Westcliff Warriors are going to spread out just a bit here to try to find this kill. Does the overextension cost them here? A few seconds left to make a play on this bomb. I mean, realistically, you need that gunfight and then some, but those team shots looking a bit vicious there. Westcliff rip off 2 straight.
I like the repositioning there from side of Westcliff. That are just, kind of holding yourselves up in Cantina and allowing him to get on site for free. You reposition yourselves down low to where, yes, you're on even ground, but you put yourselves in a nice position for a trade, whether that player comes around through the alleyway of Tunnel or wraps back through the spawn side. So it's nice to see Westcliff making adjustments, starting to change their pace of the game just a bit. But I guess it's kind of privy to say, offense and defense, we put a stop to what Keanu had been doing early on. Now it's the chance for the Huskies to respawn with something different of their own. However, it's just going to be back to the basics. A hit once again. Nade's going to go ahead and slow the push that is on the defensive side over towards the bottom of Cantina. But it's Aqua who opens things up with one. Exelius will find Vibe, who has been oh so crucial here for Westcliff in these last couple of rounds. And with the 3 versus 3 standstill and 20 seconds off the clock, still Keanu trying to make their way forward with the bomb.
Whew, Aqua able to find the timing there. Tries to get a little overzealous and overchow out of balcony. A teammate will follow in tow, maybe to try to catch off guard. Not going to be the case. Huskies sniff that one out, read it perfectly, and now put themselves at map point.
For a moment, I really thought Aqua was going to be able to take out Witness on the back staircase. And that would have been ridiculous, to say the least. But regardless, even being able to find that kill in top Cantina and try to push your way forward after the round just really didn't seem like it was going to go your way. It could have been great, but it's nice to see Aqua starting to, want to use that movement and get more aggressive on the map. Before that round was at 1 and 5. Hadn't really had much of an impact on the search and destroy here at all, even before the little reset after that first round. So now it's going to be on Keanu's side on defense to hold off Westcliff here. Kurz, first gunfight, going to go his way. It's also Brody who takes down Aqua. So everybody that has really started to heat up in these last few rounds for Westcliff off the board. It's only Vive who is left alive now with his teammate in Nightmares in a 2 versus 3.
And look, to give it an even better point, so seldomly the team that plays more of the map gets punished for it. The way the Huskies have worked the map and found ways to get through on the flank, find and shoot players in the back, has boated them so well and given them such map control, but things have rallied and battled back, and hey, Bomb is going down here now in a 2v2, but the pinch play is still open to develop, and I don't know the Vibe has the read.
Well, Nightmares gets off the site, and now Nightmares can look towards, assuming Vibe can look towards the middle of the map, finding Zelios. And all that's left is a flake now coming in from Brody. 1 versus 1 win. Isolated gunfight goes his way, but he only has 6 HP. If Nightmares is going to chow this, you need to go out quickly, because now you're allowing Brody to get back to full health. Yes, you have the advantage of not allowing Brody to know where you are, but the dead silence will be popped, and now he can get in towards the side of the building.